So Microsoft embeds Windows Defender in Windows 10 in order to provide some security options for their operating system. So you manage it from settings, and I've gone to settings already. Just start and settings, and it brings you to the settings screen. And Windows Defender is going to be here under updates and security. I'm going to click on update and security, and it opens up, and it starts out with check for updates. But what we want to pay attention to is Windows Defender, and we're going to find that here under Windows Security. So you click on Windows Security, and we're going to have a little flag here saying whether we have actions that are needed. Notice all of these on my system are green check marked, which means no actions needed, everything looks good. So you can open up the Windows Security from here, or if you click on any of these areas, it will take you to that section of Windows Security. So I'll open up Windows Security from here. And here is my security at a glance, and you'll see virus and threat protection, account protection, firewall and network protection, app and browser control, device security, device health. Let's go to virus and threat protection. And it'll display our current threats, when our last scan was, how many threats were found, how long it took, how many files were scanned. And then we can launch a quick scan here. We can set our scan options. We can look at our protection history. We can allow specific threats if we want to. If we're not worried if something shows up as a threat and we don't think it really is, we can allow it. So those are, come over here so we can scroll down. So those are our options for scanning. And then virus and threat protection settings, we can manage settings here. Real-time protection is turned on, cloud delivered protection, automatic sample submission. If we find something, do we want to submit it to Microsoft for them to analyze? Tamper protection, controlled access folders. So all of our options for controlling is here. Exclusions is one to be aware of. You can select specific things that you don't want to be scanned. And there may be a few reasons for this. It may be custom software that shows up as a possible exclusion, or that shows up as a possible threat because of what you have it doing, so you may want to exclude some of those folders or files. That's where that would come from. Okay, back to our virus and threat protection. So we have current threats, we have virus and threat protection settings, we have updates, ransomware protection, and then just some general information. Let's go ahead and click on ransomware protection. And so here we have, and this is something relatively new in Windows Defender, so we can control folder access. And what this does is if we encounter ransomware, this will scan if you're controlled for folder access. Whoops. Let me turn that off for a second. If your controlled folder access is turned on, what it'll do is it'll look for your folders. Turn mine back on here real quick. We can look for protected folders, and it will evaluate those folders to see if it detects anything that could potentially be a problem. And then we can allow an app through controller access. Again, this is to deal with false positives. And notice it has this nice little notation here, ransomware data recovery. If we have ransomware issues, we may be able to recover data from, and you'll see a couple of my accounts here. Okay, so back to virus and threat protection. So manage scans. In here under current threats, manage scans and scan results, manage settings for virus and threat protection, and then updates and ransomware protection. Now that is one part of Windows Defender. We have a handful of other tools here. So account protection, view all of our accounts, set up dynamic lock if we want, look at our firewall and network protection. This is a real quick overview. We're going to go into firewalls a little bit later in another video. So for each of our potential profiles, whether we're on a domain network, a private network, or a public network, firewall is turned on all three of them. And at the moment, my private network is the one that's active. And then we also have app and browser controls, which deals with Smart Screen for Microsoft Edge. We have device security, and then we have device performance and health. So all of our Windows security things are integrated through this nice little Windows security tool, which is built on top of Windows Defender. Now, be aware that there is a difference between Windows Defender Local, which is what we're looking at here, and some tools that are available primarily for enterprise users through Azure. So we've got some Windows Defender named tools in Azure as well that require Azure account integration and are primarily available for enterprise users. So for a lot of them, not all of them, but for a lot of them, you have to have Windows 10 Enterprise in order to be able to use it. I'm currently running Windows 10 Home on this edition, so I don't have access to some of those tools. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a quick overview of managing Windows security through Windows Defender. Now, just a couple of general principles here. Windows Defender is a good tool. It should not be your only tool. You want Windows Defender active, but you don't necessarily want it to be the only thing you have protecting your device. There should be network level firewalls involved, especially in a corporate network, but even on a home network. Something as simple as a Wi-Fi router is going to provide a layer of network protection beyond Windows Defender. So you're going to want multiple levels of defense. So one temptation is to turn off Windows Defender if you're on a network because you think I'm protected by the network settings, and that's kind of true. However, if something manages to get through your network settings, you want another layer of defense behind it. Same thing, you don't want to rely on Windows Defender only, you want that other layer of defense in front of it. So as you are going through some of your Windows security settings, if you're not sure whether you should turn it on or not, one of the things I would recommend is when in doubt, go ahead and turn it on. If it creates a problem for you, then you can explore that problem and turn it off if needed. But it's better to have a higher level of security and not need it than to have a lower level of security and wish that you had more.